Hi, today I'm going to be presenting my essay, Modern Literacy on College Campuses. My thesis or main idea for my essay was how the advancements of literacy alongside the use of e-text help keep the price of a college semester down. So in order to present, I'm going to be reading off my iPad, which you'll notice, and it will be important to e-text later, but I'm going to be reading the main bolded points for my essay because I really felt like they helped push my argument along. So to explain a little bit more about my thesis, I'm a philosophy major, and one thing that somebody will notice when reading a syllabus for a philosophy course is the fact that there's no required text. And the only reason I can think that there wouldn't be is that you cover so much information in one course. I mean, you can go from Plato to John Stuart Mill just based off of whatever you're learning. And if you're not a philosophy major, those names probably don't make sense, but don't worry, I won't be referencing them again, and you really don't need to know who John Stuart Mill is. So the main idea for this paragraph was the professor being able to collect the articles or chapters that they want the class to cover and upload it to one place helps keep the cost down because one does not have to go out and buy several different books. And this is kind of an important point later that I make, is the fact that if I did have to go out and buy individual books for each philosopher, it would be really expensive. So I'm very thankful that a lot of philosophers are probably already dead and gone and their works have already been published online, thus making it an e-text and thus keeping the price of a college semester down. So my next main point is, gone are the days of students using traditional textbook, and in are the days of students purchasing their books for download or even just having to download the reading material that the professor took the time to collect to properly format their class. And within this paragraph, there was actually an example presented by CNBC that the price of college textbooks have actually risen 82%, and that the average college student is spending around $1,200 per semester. This is expensive. E-texts are a lot cheaper, and that kind of goes into my next paragraph where I have an example that says, lower prices are the key selling point for e-text, but one researcher found that digital text can be used. Now, what many people don't know is that an e-text isn't necessarily something that has been previously published and placed onto the internet. It can be a physical textbook that has been made in the e-variety, and on my iPad I actually have 3 from a math course and I believe 2 science courses. So that being said, it also says that another argument is that the textbook, if it's an e-version, it will eventually expire and you can't resell it back. So many people might think that that makes it more expensive. But here's the thing, I have this textbook, which was from my freshman year, and I wasn't able to sell it back. Actually, I think I was told to keep it for writing purposes. And then I have this one, which is for this semester. It looks like a binder, but it's actually a loose leaf anthropology book. I spent about $250 on this book. I'm not going to be able to sell it back to the bookstore because it is loose leaf, and once you open it, you can't resell it back. So to me, that argument is a little invalid because not only is this book super expensive, I'm not going to be able to resell it back. It's going to collect dust, and I'm not going to reopen it because I'm not an anthropology major. So had that been an e-text version, yeah, the e-text might have eventually expired, but I wouldn't have felt like it was a loss because it probably would have been about half the price of this textbook, or at least 25% off of the price. So in the end, I would have felt like I gained more from the textbook than lost because, honestly, I'm losing a lot out on the textbook. So in the end, the e-text would keep the price of the college semester down because it wouldn't be overly expensive, and I would get my uses out of it, and then I wouldn't feel like I was losing money on it. And honestly, when you go to resell a book, you don't get that much money back anyway, so I don't really see how reselling the book could actually be a really good argument for how it could make the price of the textbook cheaper. So lastly, it's important to cover how these will be read. So more than likely, if you're a college student, you already have a laptop, cell phone, and maybe even a tablet. So that's how these texts are going to be read. You're not going to have to go out and buy the tangible textbook and then read through it. Many people might argue that this might make it more expensive because if you don't have the tablet or laptop or cell phone, then you're not going to be able to access the e-text anyway. A lot of times you can rent one, and then still the price of the textbook is cheaper than the tangible textbook, so you're still keeping the price of your college semester down. So finally, how it all connects back to this course is from the readings in chapter 4, we had a discussion post, and these discussion posts basically laid the groundwork for expanding the notions of literacy in relation to power and access. So because of the advancements of literacy, which was important back in my thesis, we have the ability to have e-text because it's not like the tangible text anymore, which I believe is your traditional literacy. These new forms of literacy involve things like being able to read your text off of an iPad. So because we have the power and access to these e-texts, I felt like that really connected it back to the course because we are able to read the e-text as opposed to just having it as the tangible textbook. And the tangible textbook is something that helps rise the price of college semesters when we could just use the e-text to keep them down. So in conclusion, through gaining the power and access of multiliterarism, a new realm has been opened on college campuses. That being the power of gaining the use of cheaper textbooks to be able to gain further knowledge.